Years defined by sorrow, lingering questions, and the persistent ache of loss prepared the ground for an unimaginable change. Tay Borden, the beloved individual fans thought was gone forever, might be on the verge of a return. This season of Heartland is teasing a narrative development that could fundamentally alter the series. What was the true fate of Tay Borden? Could he possibly have survived? If he did, what forced him to stay hidden for so many years? These revelations are set to shake the very core of Heartland, compelling Amy, Jack, and the entire Bartlett-Fleming family to reconsider everything they believed to be true. For a long time, the fan base struggled with the reality of Tay's apparent death. His absence created a profound emptiness in Amy's life, forcing her to navigate the challenges of being a single mother while holding on to the precious memories of their deep bond. But just as Amy starts to find a semblance of tranquility, unsettling rumors begin to surface, hinting at the impossible. Tay might not have actually perished. At first, the notion seems absurd. The evidence appeared to be definitive. Or was it? A strange item arrives at Heartland, something that seems minor, yet is so uniquely connected to Tay that it makes Amy pause. A small, hand-carved wooden horse, one he'd made for Lindy, suddenly appears on his old workbench, as if he'd just stepped away. Amy attempts to rationalize it as a misplaced keepsake from the past, but a persistent feeling of unease remains. She discusses her disquiet with Jack, whose experienced intuition tells him something isn't right. He has seen enough in his life to trust his instincts. When things feel off, they often are. Simultaneously, strange occurrences begin to happen around the ranch. A fleeting figure is seen near the woods, vanishing before identification. Spartan, the horse Amy trained with Tay, acts agitated, as if sensing a familiar presence. Could it really be Tay? Or merely the imaginings of a mind longing for what was lost? Amy isn't the only one feeling unsettled. Georgie, now more mature and capable, starts her own quiet investigation. Using her contacts, she uncovers surprising inconsistencies, not in medical files, but in old financial records related to Tay's veterinary practice. Certain transactions were mysteriously canceled. Expenses were recorded to accounts that seemed to disappear. Someone went to great lengths to ensure Tay's departure was accepted, without question, but the reason remains hidden. As Amy grapples with this potential new reality, a difficult question emerges. If Tay is alive, why hasn't he come back? Why stay hidden? The answer could be more dangerous than she can comprehend. If someone orchestrated Tay's disappearance, they might do anything to keep that secret safe. A storm is gathering, and its arrival could change Heartland forever. The burden of the unknown weighs heavily on Amy. She can't shake the persistent notion that the story of Tay's end is incomplete. The carved horse, the brief sightings, Spartan's odd behavior, it all feels too real to be simple coincidence. Yet, if Tay did survive, why the long silence? Why let her suffer such deep grief? The questions are relentless, but Amy clings to one certainty: she must find the truth. Jack, ever the family's steadfast anchor, advises her to be cautious. He knows the dangerous allure of hope, how it can lead one down perilous roads. What if this is a cruel hoax meant to reopen old wounds? He questions. Amy wants to ignore his worries, but knows his point is valid. Still, a stubborn part of her refuses to let go of the possibility. Meanwhile, Georgie digs deeper into the financial irregularities. The canceled transactions weren't mere mistakes. They were intentionally hidden. Someone actively worked to erase Tay's recent professional history. With Caleb's help, she follows a faint lead, a name linked to one of the last disputed accounts. It points to an individual who briefly worked at a supply company Tay had dealings with just before his accident. As Georgie follows this lead, Amy's world becomes increasingly unsettling. Late one night, a noise outside the main house startles her awake, a faint scratching sound near the porch. She initially dismisses it as the wind or an animal, but then she recognizes it: the distinct smell of a specific type of motor oil Tay always used. Her heart pounds in her chest. She grabs a heavy flashlight, turns it on, and carefully opens the door, her beam cutting through the moonlit yard. "Hello?" she calls out, her voice unsteady. There's no response, only the sound of the wind in the pines, then the crunch of gravel, footsteps retreating quickly, as if someone had been right there. Moments later, Lou, always practical, suggests Amy is simply exhausted. You've been under so much stress, she says. Maybe it's time to let the past be. But Amy can't. She knows what she smelled, and the next morning, her conviction grows stronger when one of Ty's old worn leather work gloves is found near where she heard the noise. Across the province, Georgie encounters a dead end. The contact from the supply company is gone. Records indicate he quit suddenly shortly after Ty's accident, and his listed address leads nowhere. The deeper they dig, the more convoluted the mystery becomes. What really happened on that day? Was Ty a target? If so, who stood to benefit, and why? The truth feels tantalizingly close yet remains obscured. One fact becomes chillingly clear. Someone is actively trying to prevent its discovery. The atmosphere at Heartland becomes tense, filled with unspoken fear. Amy tries to keep up appearances, looking after the horses, spending time with Lindy, but the unnerving feeling of being watched never leaves her. She feels it in quiet moments, in the barn, during rides through the pastures, even within the supposed safety of the house. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves, feels like a hidden presence. Jack notices her growing anxiety. He remains outwardly calm, but his attentiveness increases. He keeps his old ranch rifle nearby now. His eyes scan the property lines more often. A man of few words, his actions show his deep concern. Georgie, frustrated but determined, changes her investigative strategy. If the financial trail has gone cold, perhaps another angle will yield results. Georgie revisits the initial accident reports, searching for overlooked details. She finds a name previously missed, Marcus Thorne, a ranch hand who occasionally worked at a neighboring ranch and was known to be in the area where Ty was injured. He vanished around the same time. Georgie shares this information with Scott Cardinal. The trusted family veterinarian listens intently, his expression growing serious. Marcus Thorne, he repeats thoughtfully. I vaguely recall him. Didn't stay in one job for long, had a reputation for being unreliable, but he knew these back roads better than anyone. Why do you ask? Georgie explains the timeline and Thorne's disappearance. Scott rubs his chin. That is odd. There was no sign of him anywhere. People assumed he just moved on, looking for work. But the timing, you're right. It's worth investigating. Maybe he saw something that day. Back at Heartland, Amy makes a discovery that sends a chill down her spine. While sorting through old storage boxes in the attic, she finds a small battered notebook tucked inside one of Ty's winter jackets. It's not his main journal, but a pocket-sized one she barely recollects. Her hands tremble as she opens it, flipping past old notes, feed calculations, and reminders. Then near the back, a hastily written entry grabs her attention. MT is getting desperate. He tried to warn me. If something happens, it's tied to the Ridge Project. Amy's blood runs cold. MT. Marcus Thorne. Was Ty aware he was in danger? Did Thorne try to help him? Before she can fully process the implications, the lights flicker and go out, plunging the house into darkness. No storm had been predicted. It's a deliberate power outage. Amy grabs the heavy flashlight again, her heart racing. She moves to the window, trying to see into the pitch-black yard. Then she hears footsteps, closer to the house this time. As she steps onto the porch, Amy shines the light across the yard. In the distance, illuminated for a split second, is a figure standing near the fence line, not on horseback, tall and lean, disappearing back into the shadows the instant the light touches him. This is no figment of her imagination. Someone is out there, someone connected to Ty's final days, and they are trying to intimidate her. The puzzle pieces are rearranging, forming a picture far more threatening than she had ever conceived. But the truth remains hidden. Amy clutches the small notebook, Ty's altered words echoing in her mind. MT is getting desperate. He tried to warn me. If something happens, it's tied to the Ridge Project. Ty knew. He suspected something was wrong with that project, and Thorne had tried to alert him. Was Thorne involved in what ultimately happened? The questions multiply, Deepening the mystery, someone wanted Tai gone, and they made sure the official narrative was maintained. Now Amy feels their unseen presence drawing nearer. Jack, sensing the increasing danger, becomes more resolute. He retrieves his old hunting rifle, cleaning it with careful precision. He will not let Amy face this unknown adversary unprotected. He begins to make quiet inquiries among the older local ranchers, asking about Marcus Thorne, trying to reconstruct the man's activities around the time Tai disappeared. He's met with guarded replies and evasiveness. They remember Thorne, but seem unwilling to discuss his abrupt departure. Meanwhile, Georgie concentrates her efforts on locating Marcus Thorne, using online databases, and reaching out to contacts from her brief experience working with a private investigator. She finds out Thorne had a sister living in a nearby town, a slim lead, but they're only one. Georgie drives there, determined to find answers. She arrives at a modest suburban home. A wary guarded woman answers the door. Georgie introduces herself, explaining she's looking for Marcus concerning an old incident near Heartland. The woman's eyes narrow. I haven't seen Marcus in years. He left town suddenly, didn't say where he was going. Georgie presses gently. Did he ever say anything unusual? Anything about the Heartland Ranch or Tai Borden? The woman hesitates, glancing back into her house as if afraid of being overheard. He mentioned getting caught up in some bad business. She finally admits, something about seeing something he shouldn't have. He said powerful people were involved, and he needed to disappear quickly. He warned me not to ask questions. Georgie feels a shock. Who are these people? The woman shakes her head. He never said their names, just that they could make problems disappear, him included. He seemed terrified. Georgie thanks the woman, leaving with a chilling confirmation. Thorne saw something involving powerful individuals and fled in. Back at Heartland, Amy's search takes another disturbing turn. She decides to return to the exact location where Tai's accident supposedly occurred. A remote stretch of road miles from the ranch. She drives out alone, needing to see it for herself. The place is silent, desolate, marked only by a weathered wooden cross someone had placed there years ago. As she walks along the gravel shoulder, scanning the area for anything overlooked, she notices something glinting in the ditch. A small metal object is partially hidden by grass and dirt. She unearths it. It's a tarnished silver locket, intricately engraved. On one side, a rearing horse. On the other, the initials TB Tai Borden. It's his. The locket she gave him so long ago. He always wore it. Why was it here? Thrown aside, not with his recovered belonging. Fear mixes with a fierce determination. Someone staged this scene, took him and discarded this precious item. Amy clutches the locket. Tangible proof that the official story was a fabrication. She turns to leave and freeze. A vehicle is parked further down the road, partly concealed by trees, watching her. She hadn't seen it arrive. Her heart pounds. She quickly gets back into her truck, her eyes fixed on the rearview mirror as she drives away. The vehicle doesn't follow, but its presence is a clear warning. She is being watched. Amy grips the steering wheel, the locket cold in her palm. Tai was taken. The words resonate with terrifying clarity. He didn't die in an accident. He was abducted, and the locket found discarded miles away proves the scene was manipulated. She has to find him. Georgie meets her back at the ranch, listening intently as Amy describes finding the locket and being observed. Powerful people, Georgie repeats, remembering her conversation with Thorne's sister. Someone with resources, someone who could orchestrate a disappearance, stage an accident, and intimidate anyone who got too close. Jack and Tim listen grimly. Jack examines the locket, his expression hardening. We need to be careful, Amy. This confirms our suspicions, but it also means they know you're looking. Tim paces, his anger evident. We find out who these powerful people are. The following day, another chilling message arrives. Not a letter, but an email sent to the main Heartland account from an untraceable proxy server. The subject line is empty. The body contains a single sentence. Some secrets are buried for a reason. Stop digging. Amy stares at the screen, a cold dread washing over her. This is an escalation, a direct threat. Someone is monitoring them, knows they are getting closer, but fear is now overshadowed by determination. Georgie, recalling Thorne's sister, mentioning he felt tangled in something related to the Ridge project from Ty's notebook, suggests they investigate any major development projects or controversial land deals around the time of Ty's disappearance, specifically focusing on the Ridge project. Using town archives and online searches, they uncover records of a proposed high-stakes land development called the Ridge Preservation Project, which was fiercely opposed by local conservation groups, including one Ty had informally advised. The project involved influential investors known for their aggressive tactics and was abruptly shelved shortly after Ty's disappearance. Was Ty targeted because he had discovered they were planning to illegally dump toxic waste as part of their site clearing, something that could derail their plans? Amy and Georgie focus on the defunct Ridge Preservation Project. Its records lead them to an abandoned survey office on the outskirts of town, connected to the initial land assessments. It's a long shot, but perhaps some records were left behind. The building is derelict and forgotten. Inside, dust motes dance in the dim light. Old maps and survey equipment are scattered around. In a rusted filing cabinet, Amy finds a folder labeled with a project code for the Ridge Preservation Project. Inside, amidst faded blueprints and soil reports, is a log sheet detailing site visit. One entry stands out, dated just 2 days before Ty's accident. It lists attendees for a restricted site inspection. Ty Borden's name is on the list, alongside executives from the development company, and another name, Daniel Reeves, listed not as a paramedic, but as a security consultant and extraction specialist. Amy's breath catches. Reeves was there, involved with these people before the accident. Ty was meeting with them. The file confirms Ty was entangled with this project and its dangerous proponents, who likely discovered Ty knew about their illegal dumping. Suddenly a floorboard creaks upstairs. They are not alone. Georgie signals towards the back exit. Now, they hurry out, disappearing into the dusk. Amy glances back, seeing a light flick on in an upper window. Someone was inside, waiting or searching, just like them. Amy holds the log sheet, her hand trembling. Daniel Reeves, security consultant, extraction specialist. The pieces click into place. Reeves wasn't just a paramedic or a witness. He was part of the operation, a former military operative hired for extractions and containment, involved in Ty's removal. He worked for the people behind the Ridge Project, the ones Ty met with just before he vanished. But where did they take him? Georgie examines the sheet again, her eyes narrowed. Transferred subject under special care. There's no facility name, no destination listed as special care. It's a dead end, unless we missed something. Amy remembers Scott mentioning Reeves specialized in high-risk extractions for a private firm. What if special care isn't a hospital, but a code name for a private holding facility, somewhere off the grid, like a decommissioned bunker? Then a noise from outside. A car door slamming nearby. They know we're here, or they followed us. Georgie urges, let's go. We need to talk to Scott again. They slip away unseen, but the close call reinforces the immense danger they are in. Back at Heartland, they present the log sheet to Jack, Tim, and Scott. Jack studies the names, his jaw tight. So Ty walked into a meeting with these developers and their security man, Reeves, and then disappeared 2 days later. Tim slams his fist on the table. They took him because he knew too much about their crooked toxic deal. Scott looks at the log sheet, his expression grave. Reeves working security for them. That explains a lot. These weren't just developers. They played rough. If Ty had evidence against them. Amy looks at Scott. Can you find out where someone like Reeves, an extraction specialist, would take a high-risk individual? What does special care mean in that clandestine world? Scott nods slowly. It usually means a secure private facility, sometimes overseas, sometimes hidden domestically,
often used for witness protection or less ethical reasons. He trails off. I have an old contact, someone who used to work in that field. It might be risky, but he owes me a favor. Scott pulls out his phone, dials a number, and paces as it rings. Finally, a gruff voice answers. Scott, it's been a while. Scott gets straight to the point. I need information. Off the record. A transfer approximately 4 years ago, handled discreetly, possibly involving Daniel Reed. Destination listed as special care. Ring any bells? A long pause on the other end. Special care? That's not a place, Scott. It's a program. Highly classified. Extremely dangerous. You shouldn't be asking about it. Amy's stomach plummets. Another warning. Another layer of secrecy. But Scott persists. This is important. The voice on the other end sighs heavily.